Hey everybody, welcome back to Jeff Bowles Central. It's the third anniversary, approximately, of the release of Cyberpunk 2077, right? And if you're new to my channel, which not many people even know about my channel, let's be honest. But if you're new here, you may remember that I reviewed Cyberpunk 2077 3 years ago when it came out. And I actually gave it a pretty good score because the version that I played, I was actually pretty satisfied with. This is what it looked like then. I was playing it on the Xbox Series X, and it was okay on Series X. You know, it had a lot of issues, okay, but not as many as were on Xbox One or other platforms. I'd be hard-pressed to see a major improvement between what it looks like now, which is what this is, and what it looked like then, other than basic stability fixes. Pop-in was a bigger issue. It is a much better experience, but I didn't hate it all that time. I actually kind of liked it, but the thing is that it wasn't living up to my expectations in terms of, like, graphical presentation was okay, but it was only in 1080p at the time. It wasn't even really in a good 4K, or if it was in 4K, the HDR was off. I understand though that this game was really, really hated back when it came out. I don't think that's a strong way of putting it. People realized it had potential, but CD Projekt Red didn't really do their due diligence, that's the French, to release a finished product. But CD Projekt Red, to their great credit, because they're a fine studio, okay? The Witcher series alone proves that. To their great credit, credit, which is also the French, they worked on it all this time, and they didn't just work on it. They made it just a much more stable, much more inviting experience. And then recently, back in September, they released this big expansion, Phantom Liberty, which you don't just get your Keanu Reeves, now you get your Idris Elba too. It's a really, really good expansion. Like, I've been playing it all week. I didn't get a chance to check it out in September because there was a lot of stuff coming out this last half of the year, as you'll see on my record for reviews. I did a lot of reviews of a lot of games, and this was on my radar, of course, because I actually really like Cyberpunk. There's nothing else like Cyberpunk. Say what you want about it, but it looks amazing. It looks so unique. And all they really did was adapt the Cyberpunk vibe, the Blade Runner kind of thing. There's a lot of examples of Cyberpunk, right? But it's visually stunning. The story is... it's not as strong. The main story is not as strong as like The Witcher 3 was, but it's interesting. It's good. It's dark. It's seedy. It's sexual a lot of the time. It's a really, that's not like always a selling point for people, even though it kind of is subconsciously, right? But it's like such a cool experience, and there's nothing like it. So when I heard that the Phantom Liberty expansion was going to include this big new 2.0 update where they were modding completely the progression system, the leveling system, it's so much more engaging now. The map of it really highlights in a better way how you want to optimize your character. It's hard to explain, but they've kind of grouped together your abilities and your bonuses and your buffs and stuff in different ways. And also it is so much, like I've mentioned a couple times about stability, but it really is. It's much more stable. As you can tell, I like to katana people to death. What's cool about Phantom Liberty though is it does have this amazing new story. And I actually think that this is a better story than the main campaign, which is good, but it's not like a classic thing. This kind of save the president thing that they have with this secret agent played by Idris Elba, and it is it's nerdy, but it's cool to have big powerhouse actors like Keanu Reeves and Idris Elba in the same scene in a video game. It's just cool. because they're both good. Keanu has a lazier delivery, but hasn't he always? And Idris Elba is just always good. Like, he's just, he's one of the greatest actors of his generation, probably. That's not really a boast for him, right? But they added this whole new section of Night City, which is already so visually compelling, called Dogtown, kind of centralized around, basically, this is a part of Night City that was becoming developed in a big way, and then there was this big crash because everything sucks eventually in Night City. It's always grimy and crappy. So there's all these unfinished buildings that are both housing legit businesses and the very wealthy, and just like the scum of the earth, right? And just, gangs and just brutal people. And that's kind of the dichotomy of Night City anyway. But it's put together in a visually, again, compelling way, but a different way. So there's a lot to see in Dogtown. And when you attach Phantom Liberty, which I would easily give like an 8 or a 9 as just an expansion, as a standalone experience, if you attach that to the core game, you've got an incredibly compelling package. And I gotta say, if this is the game that CD Projekt Red had released in 2020, that was the pandemic year, man. That was 3 years ago. It would have been so stunning, and it would have just blown the doors off of the Game of the Year conversation at that time, right? It would have won every award known to man. I'm telling you that as it stands today, I haven't played it since launch. I meant to mention that earlier in the thing, but I haven't played it since launch. And I'm in love with it. Like, I fell in love with this game all over again this last week when I was getting all this footage and playing Phantom Liberty and stuff. It was so good. This has got to be one of my favorite games of the last 10 years now, easily. Phantom Liberty included. It's so cool. So that's it. That's all I really got to say about Cyberpunk in the year 2023. So good, so pure, so fun, so interesting. Yeah. Okay, do me a favor, everybody. This is my newest musical release, Audiophile One. It is a remastered, resequenced, remade version of my first album that I put out, I guess about 4 years ago now. I always wanted it to sound a little bit better. I always wanted it to flow a little bit better, so that's what I've done here. You can check this out. Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Music, even here on YouTube. That's it. That's all I gotta say. I am spent, or spient. Is that the French? No, that sounds more German. A spinta. That's the Italian. Sorry if I just offended people.